Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart feels like the classic experience we've come to expect from the series, but with brilliant visuals and some new features and an exciting adventure. However, while it is a Ratchet and Clank game, the titular heroes do take a bit of a backseat, with the spotlight focusing more on newcomer Lombax Rivet. It doesn't hurt that she is incredibly likeable though. The story starts off with Ratchet and Clank having a parade thrown in honor of their past heroics. The party is soon crashed though by their old nemesis Dr. Nefarious, who steals the Dimensionator in order to beat the pair. He plans to transport them to a dimension where he is a tyrannical ruler. In the scuffle, the Dimensionator becomes unstable and causes an explosion, and the blast separates the three. Ratchet and Clank both wake up in a universe that is not their own, but in completely different places. Rivet, a Lombax from the current universe and member of the Resistance, grabs Clank in order to get some answers. Ratchet and Clank is quite the adventure, taking you to a host of different locations as you set out to stop Dr. Nefarious. The characters have also been really well written, making you connect with them. The series' brand of humor is still present, even though some of it doesn't really stick the landing. There's also a bunch of emotional and feel-good moments that actually make you care about the characters, both what happened to them in their respective pasts in addition to their current struggles. It's a little hard to not get sucked into the narrative and become fully invested in the cast. The gameplay in Rift Apart will instantly feel familiar to fans of the series. Ratchet has his range for melee attacks and a sizable arsenal of wacky weapons to deal with all the enemies that will be thrown at you. The first weapon you receive, a blaster, is pretty tame, but increasingly bizarre weapons will become available for purchase as you make your way through the game. From a sentry whose name is a play on words, I'm looking at you Mr. Fun Guy, to a sprinkler that turns enemies into plants and freezes them into place, it's unlikely that you will find a weapon that doesn't make you chuckle a bit. Each weapon gains experience while it's being used and will level up, evolving into its final form at level 5. This evolution will tweak how the weapon behaves in combat, often adding a new and unique perk that will increase its damage output. Most of them gain experience pretty easily and level up without you even trying, but it's always a nice surprise when it happens. Weapons can be further upgraded by using the aptly named resource Ratchetanium. You can sink this into the hexagonal cells in each weapon's upgrade tree, unlocking perks such as increased ammo capacity, rate of fire, or max damage. It's different for each one. Upgrade trees also have special gold cells that trigger when all of the surrounding cells have been unlocked. These unlock special abilities that vary from weapon to weapon. Ratchetanium can be pretty much found on every single planet you visit except for the opening level. Past Ratchet and Clank titles have featured a healthy balance of platforming and combat. Rift Apart is slightly different in that the combat is front and center with a little bit of platforming here and there. There are some small sections which have you grinding and swinging in some amazing set pieces though. The combat is also really solid, and dispatching enemies using a host of different crazy weapons never got old. It just feels so defined when compared to previous entries. Additionally, a new ability called the Phantom Dash has been introduced, and this plays a part in both platforming and combat. In platforming, the dash comes in handy with extending your jump, allowing you to make it across larger gaps. In combat, the dash helps you avoid enemy attacks, granting a second of invincibility while the Phantom Dash is still in motion. It's actually such a great addition and makes the combat more exciting. It makes me wonder how we've played previous games in the series without it. Aside from the main quest, there are some collectibles to be found which alter the appearance of Ratchet's wrench or Rivet's hammer. There are also armor pods which unlock certain bonuses when all three pieces have been found. The best part though is that you don't have to even be wearing the armor for the bonus to be active, which is great because I love the way Ratchet and Rivet look in their default outfits. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, as its name suggests, makes use of dimensional rifts. The first level plays around with it quite a bit, throwing Ratchet into multiple rifts. There are also some side rifts called pocket dimensions that can be found in each level. Completing these usually yields a collectible. Aside from this though, the rift mechanics seem somewhat underutilized. I loved them when they popped up during the story because they work so well, plus the transition is so smooth. However, I wish there was more of it. As is par for the course, there is some puzzle solving in Rift Apart. These come in the form of rooting out viruses in a computer as a tiny spider bot and repairing anomalies as Clank. The former is really just a course of shooting viruses to cleanse a computer, while the latter takes just a little more than that. You'll need to speed up, lift, weigh down, and electrify ethereal Clanks in order to solve puzzles. These provide a decent challenge, but thankfully don't overdo it. Still, figuring out a solution made me feel smart, which was nice. One thing I want to talk about is how the DualSense manages to deliver such an incredible experience thanks to its adaptive triggers and haptic feedback. The triggers require half pushes in order to lock onto targets or even firing a weapon at its primary function. Pushing in all the way fires after locking on or activates a secondary firing method. It's great because you never feel like you're going to accidentally push past the resistance. The haptics are what really make Rift Apart feel even more fun to play. From small blips when firing certain guns to playing songs using only the vibration, it's actually crazy how much it immerses you in the game. There's even a part in the early game where you're looking for a club, and as you get closer you can actually feel the bassy beat vibrations becoming increasingly stronger. Visually, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is stunning. Saying that this might be the prettiest game I've ever played wouldn't be an overstatement. It runs incredibly well right up until the game's climax. As is the current trend though, the game has visual options you can change depending on if you want to prioritize ray tracing or the frame rate. All the options are good, but the one I opted for was a balance between the two. The performance is also excellent, especially when it comes to rift transitions and how they happen without a hitch. The audio and voice acting in particular is great. Jennifer Hale voices Rivet amazingly and really brings her to life by nailing all of her little quirks. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is excellent. It's another solid game in the series, even if Rivet pretty much steals the show. Honestly though, I hope we get to see more of her. The gameplay is great and refines the combat to make it the best it's ever been. The Phantom Dash specifically is a welcomed addition both in terms of combat and traversal. Also, the way the DualSense's haptic feedback and adaptive triggers have been used though just makes it feel like such a unique experience. Visually, the game looks incredible and runs so smoothly from start to finish. The same goes for the audio, especially in terms of the voice acting. The riff mechanic is really cool and works really well, but unfortunately it feels underutilized. However, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is still a really amazing game and a fantastic addition to the series. It should be a treat for fans and newcomers alike. If you enjoyed this review, please hit that like button, and if you are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. And if you got your hands on Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, please let me know what you thought of the game in the comment section down below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.